videos, he advocated lowering the retirement age and something about, abolishing the child labor laws. So it's sort of a response, and I guess I'm going to assume that we're talking about in an ideal world what we do. He advocated lowering the retirement age to, I think he said 55, might have been lower. I would, in an ideal world, I don't think retirement would even be an issue. I think in an ideal world, and I don't mean utopian, I mean in a world where the society actually functions. We would do work that we would enjoy, and we would do it. I mean, you think of the society, first of all, think of the society we live in now. Millions of people unemployed. That's by design. Then you have millions of people who are retired. You have children who don't work. I mean, you have a large segment of the population that does nothing productive at all. Now imagine that segment of the population helping out. Is that such a crazy idea? And I'm talking about a world fundamentally different than the one we inhabit now, where the relationship between producer and consumer would be turned on its head. I mean, where there would be democracy, not only in the production side, through, say, workers' councils who would determine how labor should be utilized, but there'd also be a democracy on the consumption side. Should you be able to consume every little tidbit of junk that you want? Maybe not. We're facing right now a severe constraint in our ability to produce energy. And that's certainly going to curtail our consumer habits. So I'm speaking of a fundamentally different type of system and world. But in such a system where the majority of us, instead of being rented on the market as we are today, we're part of a group, whatever it is you do, and you would find, hopefully you find some kind of creative joy in it. And the idea of retiring would seem absurd. You'd keep doing whatever it is you do for as long as you could. And maybe if it's a physical task, like something I do, construction, there's certainly things that as I get older that I could do and still remain in the industry, so to speak. There's more to being a carpenter than just throwing drywall or steel studs. So I think in such a society, such an anarchist society, retirement wouldn't be an issue. As for child labor, again, I don't think that would be an issue, because instead of forcing parents to rent their kids out on the labor market so that they can put a roof over their head and feed themselves, kids would be encouraged to go out into the workplace with their family and learn whatever it is, that trade. Like for me, if you learn the trade of carpentry. Certainly there's things that kids can do at a job site to learn the trade, learning to read a tape measure, learning to cut things, certain things that you give, little tasks that you give them at their level. I think that'd be a great thing. Of course, and it wouldn't be, in a productive, everything would be production oriented. So I could see child labor laws being abolished under the right circumstances, and I could see retirement being made irrelevant. If you had a society that worked, that created institutions that encouraged and with auto workers on their polls, they don't have enough time to do the task. You know, anybody who, especially anybody in a skilled trade, wants to do a good job. Nobody wants to do something half-assed. You know, when you walk into a job, and it really doesn't even, it's not limited to skilled trades. If you're a waitress or, you know, you work at McDonald's, you know, maybe it's not a skilled trade, but if you could, you'd like to do your best job. You know, if time wasn't always of an issue, you weren't always being pushed to do 10 million different tasks, you know that not only do you have to bake the hamburger, but now you got to mop the floors, you got to clean the tables. You know, there's all these things, and then of course, you know, you're always in fear of losing your job. And we're talking about a much different society, you know, and I think if society was structured in the right way, these things would become larger. We would, you know, and much more productive. The current system we have, it's sickening how wasteful it is. I mean, from the food the grocery stores throw away every day to the enormous amount of material thrown away at job sites. You know, you look, the system it's wasteful beyond imagination. And I'm sure our ancestors, our future ancestors, some detail. So, retirement serves a function in this system because we are renting. It's another form of slavery. We are wage slaves. And retirement is the modern day equivalent of 40 acres and a mule. That's what was given to indentured servants, which were certainly slaves. Their ticket to freedom. And it serves as a legitimizing force, you know. For a lot of people, that, you know, that goal of retirement is enough to put up with the drudgeries of wage slavery. Put up with it for 30, 40 years of your life. More than a slave. You know, Monday through Friday, oftentimes Saturdays or Sundays, you will be rented and you will work for someone who has a lot of money. And retirement is a legitimizing tool used, you know, and it's worked quite well. I'm thinking that a decent, civilized, humane society, such a thing would be needed. You wouldn't want to escape your job. You know, if you talk to people who are, it's very similar to conversations among criminals, or, you know, people who are incarcerated. They talk about how much time they have left. Yeah, I've got 10 years left, 20 years left. They speak of it like a sentence, like a prison sentence, like a, you know, and it is. This isn't, you know, some Marxist ideological nonsense. It's reality. Talk to people who are, especially as they get nearer retirement. You know, their term of work is, you know,